During the COVID-19 pandemic, child labor caused a lot of issues and cases doubled from 2,057,000 to 4,096,000 out of the 14,987,929 children in Uganda who are aged 14 to 17 years. And this heinous trend continues to increase daily according to the National Labour Force report for the financial year 2019 to 2020. The findings have shown that 70% of these minors are young girls who were involved in child labor activities to support their households, compared to the boys who made up 68% for minors aged between 11 to 17 years of age. To speak to us about this and more, we do have Erina Kawalia, the legal officer, Platform for Labor Action. Good afternoon to you, Erina.
Good afternoon.
Now, question number one, of course, we do have what is known as the World Day Against Child Labor. What is that?
This is the day when we reflect back on the global extent of child labor. What are the impact being done? What are the solutions being brought about, and the recommendation to ensure that we eliminate child labor worldwide? So reflect back on this day. What are we going to do? What can we add on what is already being done? And
in reference to child labor, what would you stem as social protection?
Social protection is a set of policies and programs which are aimed at preventing and protecting all people against child labor. And given the children are a part of the vulnerable groups, so those need extra protection. So in terms of social protection in Uganda, we have the youth program and the UPE. So this is meant to ensure that all children remain in school. Yes.
Okay. Break down the harmful effects of child labor, especially in our children, in the economy and in the long term.
Yes.
That is.
Child labor, most of the work given to the children is harder to their health. Most of them get physical disabilities because they're given work beyond their age. We have children in the eastern region where they work as scarecrows in the rice and sugarcane plantations. We have children in the gold mines. Imagine the gold mines collapse. Of course, most of the children will lose their lives. And because the children are denied the right to go to schools, we're losing track of would-be lawyers, would-be engineers, because they have not any single skilling. Instead of going to school, then they're doing other activities like hawking, gold mining, and most of these become low lives, involved in drug addiction. Those are the would-be thieves in the community. So a lot more we lose as an economy to our future leaders.
Okay, and what else would be harmful to these children?
What more could be harmful to these children? That these children are denied the right to go to education, and most of them, the nature of work that they do, they get health difficulties. Most of these, you can see a child who looks to be for 15, but because of the nature of work she has been doing, they look to be less than that. Most of them end up being malnourished, and this actually affects their physical abilities.
Okay, yeah. All right. The Gender Ministry is currently investigating NGOs that are actually making a shilling of street children. Are some NGOs actually hand-winking donors to get money in their pockets of street children?
That I'm not so sure. I wouldn't comment on that because I don't have the facts which I can rely on. But if it's being done, it's really absurd.
All right. And in your capacity as legal officer, what would you say are the best recommendations on managing street children, but also ensuring that we curb this vice of child labor in Uganda?
First of all, it starts with the parents. Parents should be more responsible, should provide for their children. They have the sole right to protect and ensure that their children are not involved in child labor. But parents have become the perpetuators of child labor. You've seen parents who send their children in the streets to beg. At some they sit back on the corners waiting for the what? For the small money this child is going to actually get. So the first thing should be the parents. This should actually be penalized because it has become absurd, like for children to be on the streets day in, day out. And also call upon the government to roll out the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights. This will go a long way to ensure that child labor is reduced or limited in Uganda and worldwide as a whole. We also have they should also strengthen the youth and UPE programs. These keep the children in school, but we find ourselves that the particular costs of particular things that the parent has to pay back to the school, which they do not have. So the government should set a particular amount.
Thank you so much, Erina, who's the legal officer, Platform for Labor Action. Well, that brings us into our break here on NTV at 1, but we do continue shortly. Do stay with us.